All right, welcome to the beginning of Macro Online. Not by choice, but we got to roll with the punches. So every year I start off the lecture, the year introducing economics as a subject. Like, why do we even have a subject of economics? You know, I get science, I get math, I get psychology. Why do you have to combine all three and make a subject economics? Well, I start off with a question, and the question is for you guys to contemplate at home. If you could have anything in the world, what would it be? Anything in the world, physical, tangible. So for all you future English philosophy majors, not world peace, physical, tangible, something you can have and hold that exists. What would it be? So pause and think about that. Come up with an answer in your head. You could have one thing. Money's no object. Go. All right, this is where you pause, and then we come back. All right, we're back. So we had a lot of different answers to that question over the years. Everything from a lot of the guys say, oh, a car like a Bugatti or a Rolls Royce, a nice house, a mansion. You get some weird answers sometimes because you're dealing with people when you teach, and one of the kids that never spoke all year raised his hand. Oh, I know. What is it? A solid gold toilet. What? I want to poop on gold. Okay. When we invaded Iraq the first time, they took over one of Saddam Hussein's palaces. And what did the GIs find in the middle of the palace that oil money, I guess, buys you? A solid gold toilet. And the GIs would take selfies with it. We had another kid. You just get weird answers. But my answer when I had delusions of grandeur, you might not know this. I don't give you my day one, but I used to work on Wall Street. So when I had delusions of grandeur, some of my friends were lawyers. I was working on Wall Street. We thought we were going to make some money. And my answer was, if I can find it, here we go. My answer was a private island. So if I can find, here we go. A private island. This is here. There's an example of a private island that you can buy in the Caribbean. Look at that. How's that? Look at that. Here, let's look at some of the pictures. That's, oh my God. Yeah, I mean, look at that. That's your view. Oh yeah, let me just take a shower and look up the azure blue waters of the Caribbean. And all this can be yours for only 1.4 million. Well, you're gonna make some money for daddy. You're a YouTuber. They have Lamborghinis and stuff. They can make that money. You will. That's why I taught you to be a gamer. So why are those things? Why are private islands, solid gold toilets, Bugattis, why are those things so much money? It has to do with the reason we even have a subject of economics. All right, so let's go over here. So it has to do with something called the economizing problem. And this right here, this definition, which, you know, if you're taking notes, copy it down. The economizing problem is why we have a study of economics, and it's that human wants and desires and needs are unlimited, while resources are limited or scarce. So if you memorize this, and there occasionally is a question on the test about this, unlimited wants or needs, limited resources. So we have a study of economics because we have to find a way to reconcile that problem, to fix that problem, to fix the fact that everyone wants everything and there's only so much stuff to go around. So how do we reconcile that problem? Well, there's a lot of different answers. There's capitalism, there's centrally planned economies, what you would know as communism, and there's everything in between. It's a continuum, by the way. Don't have this myopic view that it's either capitalism or communism, and it's not like that, guys. It's a continuum. Every capitalist country, there is no true, complete laissez-faire system on the planet, all right? And right now, there's not too many communist countries on the planet either. So everything is somewhere in between, right? In a public school, that's an example of socialism, right? We all pay taxes. We all have the right to go. Public parks, that's socialism. So there's degrees of socialism within capitalism, but those are the two basic fundamental systems. There's traditional systems, there's command systems, there's market systems, and there's mixed systems. And most of the systems on Earth are mixed, and we'll go over those different systems. But we're going to predominantly be focused on the market-based or capitalist systems. So to go back to why those things have value in your head, the thing you thought of is probably really expensive, is because there's only so much of that stuff to go around, and usually a lot of people desire it. So gold. Alchemy didn't work. There's only so much gold out there, and everyone wants gold. So therefore, it's very valuable. That house that I showed you, everyone wants a house with a good view on the water in the Caribbean. There's only so much land. That's why Florida land is so valuable, because there's a lot of coast on Florida, as opposed to, say, Montana land or Nebraska. If you look at, they a couple years ago, they were giving away homes in Detroit, giving away free. You can have a free house if you just pay their tax bill, right? So essentially, you'll get $5,000 to $10,000 house. Just claim it. Having a house in Detroit isn't that valuable. Not too many people want it. Whereas the house down your street in Miami is probably millions of dollars. So it's all about supply and demand, which we're going to get into in a later chapter. But well, that's good because you're a smart son. So if you go over here, all right, if we go over here, the economizing problem. Wants are unlimited, resources are limited, so therefore things have value. And we got to figure out how to reconcile that, all right? And in order to reconcile that, you know economics before you even thought you know economics, right? You knew economics before you could even talk, all right? And everyone has this experience when they're with their parents, usually at the grocery store, and you go in and you ask your parents, usually it's like some sugar cereal, you want Cocoa Pops, and you want what? What's a good sugar cereal? Fruit Loops, all right? Fruit Loops and Cocoa Puffs, and you want both, and you hold them up. You can't even talk. You hold them up to your mom. What does your mom say? Pick one, usually, if she's nice. If they're like my parents, it's like, we're getting the bran flakes. But you have two cereal, Cocoa Pops and Fruit Loops, and your mom says, pick one, all right? Immediately, before you could even talk, you learned a couple things. Resources are limited or scarce. And usually they say, mommy only has enough money for one. Money doesn't grow on trees. So your mom only has a little bit of money. You can't have both. Resources are not unlimited. They're scarce. I mean, you didn't have those words for it, but that's what it was. And so you realize you're going to have to make a choice, right? You have to choose either this cereal or that cereal. All right? So once you make a choice, all right, and that's another vocab word, you have to make a choice to reconcile the fact that you have limited resources. You have to make a choice. And when you make that choice, The thing you gave up. Say you chose Fruit Loops. I liked Fruit Loops. Your opportunity cost, see down here, big, bold, red. That's a big, big concept. Opportunity cost is that thing that you gave up. That's your second choice that you didn't get because you chose the thing you chose, all right? Your opportunity cost is that thing. Now, don't think of opportunity cost as, oh, I wanted to go to the private school, but it was too expensive. Too expensive is a negative. That's a different. An opportunity cost is a positive. All right. All things are scarce. All things are limited. You have limited resources, so therefore you have to make a choice. And when you make a choice, you sacrifice something. That thing that you sacrifice is called an opportunity cost. That's the number one choice that you gave up. All right. And when you have all those different choices, so think about, here's another thing. So think about what things are scarce. All right. Obviously, money is scarce. Resources are scarce. If you look at the reason your phone is so expensive, a lot of those elements in the batteries are very scarce. So that's why phones are expensive. Labor is scarce. There's only so many people to go around to build stuff. And one of the most scarce things that you guys, once you get gray hairs, you realize this is very scarce. Time. Time is one of the most scarce resources. So if you think about what are you going to do this Friday night? All right, picture there was no coronavirus and you could do whatever you want on a Friday night. What are you going to do on a Friday night? Or what are you going to do this weekend? So you have all these choices. Those choices in economics are called trade-offs. All right, so think about it. You could study for Mr. Krause's test. That's a good choice. You could play video games all weekend. That's a good choice. Will likes that choice. You could go out to eat. You could go to the movies. A lot of kids, especially in the IB Academy, you could sleep because it seems like you guys are always sleep deprived. So you have 5 different trade-offs that you could do with your limited amount of time on a Friday night. So let's say you narrowed it down to video games and sleep, because that's usually the number 1 and 2 answers. I would choose video games. Most of you guys choose sleep. So because you chose sleep, right, you narrowed it down, you had your 5 trade-offs, you chose 2, video game and sleep, and then you had to choose 1 because there's only so many hours in a day. So you chose sleep, your opportunity cost was video game. That was the number 1 possible utilization with your time that you gave up. Okay, so that's called your opportunity cost. Trade-offs, you narrow it down to 2, you make a choice, that's an opportunity cost. All right. When people make that choice, all right, another thing you learned before you could even talk was we are what's called utility maximizers. All right, utility. Write it down. Very, very important vocab term in economics. Utility, and I don't even know if I have it on my notes, is the satisfaction you get by making a decision. You get a certain amount of satisfaction. By sleeping, you got a certain amount of satisfaction. By playing video games, you got a certain amount of satisfaction. By watching that movie, you get a certain amount of satisfaction. So all these things give you utility. Your number 1 choice is the good thing that's going to give you the maximum utility. All right? And that's why economics works, is because it's different for every individual. That's why it's a social science. It's not a physical science. It's a social science. Every different person out there that's watching this video is going to have a different decision that they make. If I had a spare $5,000, I would probably put it in one of my kids' college funds or pay down my mortgage or something like that. Someone else out there would put $5,000 rims on a $4,000 Corolla. I don't understand that. I don't think that's a good decision to put dubs on a car. All right? Does that mean it's a wrong decision? No, it does not. That thing, that person, otherwise there wouldn't be a tire industry, a rim industry. That person got the most satisfaction of their money, when they got that $5,000, the number one thing that gave them most satisfaction, most utility, was putting rims on their car. The thing at this point in my life that gave me most utility was making sure Will's college is paid for. So it's different. Each person has a different decision to make. Each person has a different utility. And all of us are making millions of individual decisions throughout the year, maximizing our utility, making choices, making sacrifices. So that is most of the vocab in chapter 1. So opportunity cost, we are utility maximizers. I'll go into Adam Smith in the next video, but so, and you have these notes here, you can pause it, all right? You got the economizing problem, human wants are unlimited, resources are limited. Because limited resources and you want everything, you have to make a choice. You choose what maximizes your utility, what gives you most satisfaction. Utility is satisfaction that you make from a decision, all right? So, and the thing that you gave up, the number one trade-off of all your 10, 15 trade-offs that you could have decided when making a decision, the thing that you gave up is your opportunity cost. That's what you sacrifice by making a decision. This is going to come when you have opportunity cost. This is going to come later in one of our first models we learn. And we all, this segues into Adam Smith. We are all making rational decisions, all right? This is why it's a social science. We all are rational decision makers that, in theory, make a decision that is best for our individual needs, given our limited resources. So that's it. That's a lot of the foundational vocab, and we'll do some more next video. Keep thinking econ.